What's up, guys? So today I want to talk to you guys about A Silent Voice. Now, here's the thing about this movie. I read a bunch of reviews. It had been recommended by some of you actually in the comments, so I figured that I would watch this movie. Now, here's the thing. For me personally, I didn't like the movie. I actually found it kind of boring. But then I started questioning myself because I looked up more reviews and people are still finding it amazing. So to be honest with you, I'm not sure what I'm missing. So what I figured I would do is that we would search on YouTube for some reviews and try to figure out what I'm missing about this movie that so many of you enjoyed so much. So let's go to YouTube here. And this is the first pick here from 5 years ago. I didn't know that this movie was that old.
A Silent Voice is a new anime film that's currently in the middle of a limited release. It's shown at a few theaters here in Cleveland and is now starting to spread out amongst the nation. This film follows a young boy in 6th grade who gets a new classmate, a young girl who's deaf, who's very excited to communicate with her classmates by bringing in a notebook that they can leave notes in and she can get to know the students better. And eventually she becomes a target for this boy and he bullies her every chance that he gets.
Now, here's the thing. The beginning of this movie, I actually did find it interesting and it was captivating, right? Because it's not often that you see a character with disabilities and such. So the beginning actually did catch my attention.
Else, he even goes as far as to yank her hearing aids out and throw them around the class.
Dude, that was messed up. Like, that was cringe when I was actually watching it.
This movie's heart-wrenching. It's extremely difficult to watch sometimes, especially if you have been a victim of this type of treatment in school. This movie is tough.
It was difficult to watch, but it's not so much the theme. Sometimes it just felt kind of slow, to be honest with you.
Usually, movies or anime of this vein will follow the bullied character, and you feel really terrible for them, and you want to see them achieve some kind of redemption.
One thing that I will say about this movie that I think it did well is that you actually feel like you are watching children, right? I think that a lot of animes, they claim like these characters are like, 12 years old or 13 years old or something like that, and you're literally looking at people behaving like they're teenagers or adults. So I think the one thing that this anime did do well was that it actually portrayed the behavior of children. Like, you could see a child do the things that were happening in the anime.
It gives me hope that Studio Ghibli and their difficulties financially, it's not the end of great anime films. There are tons of filmmakers out there who are going to make films like this and Your Name that are going to breach through the barrier, and we're going to get into theaters here. And it was really nice to see this movie. As for issues, it's very long. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And there are sequences, looking back, where you're like, did that really have to be in the film? Conversations between side characters that do little but let you know maybe one or two things that are on their mind, but in the end, it doesn't really have that much weight or impact on this story. But beyond that, I mean, I really like this movie. I had a great time with it.
So I will agree with the review that this guy is making here. I think that the issues that he shares are the same issues that I had, but for me they were actually worse, I would say. Like, I don't think that the movie should have been 2 hours long. I think like an hour and 30 minutes would have made it a lot more bearable. I think that there were too many side characters that didn't add anything to the story. Not only that, but I felt like the collecting of friends, in a way, it was just like, it was too much. Like, it sidetracked too much from the actual story, and I don't feel like they really added much, except for the fact that we're supposed to look forward to maybe this like gang coming back together after all of these difficulties. But he does make a lot of good points when it comes to the new approach, how now you're tracking this guy that was a villain instead of the person that was marginalized. I thought that was a great take. But for me, I don't know what it was. I mean, even my wife, when she would walk in from time to time as I was in the living room watching this, was like, why are you watching this movie? It looks kind of boring or morbid. And I don't generally watch a lot of like depressing stuff, right? Because I like to enjoy what I'm watching, and obviously depressing stuff doesn't really make you feel joyous, right? It adds a different type of feeling there. But for me, I think that the anime overall was just super slow. But the animation itself, though, and the creative takes that they took were great. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Did you like this movie? Did you enjoy? Am I just like completely off here? Like, am I crazy? Like, what am I missing about this movie, guys? Anyways, I'll catch you on the next one. I just want to remind you that we must persevere.